What is up, everyone? We are live. We are back. It is Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day out there. Live from sunny St. Augustine, Florida. Me here on some balcony at a VRBO. Going to the Daytona 500 tomorrow. Should be fun. We got a three-man booth today with everyone on camera. I mean, this might be a first three-man booth with everyone on camera. We'll start with you, Gav. 8-gamer, so we can dive in a bit more for each game. We've got awesome games all day. Got no NBA, so the contests are a little better, especially for the ancillary slates. What's going on, man?
Yeah, a lot of new names in the lobby I saw. Come on in. The water is warm. I think it's good to have Pip on the show too. I think because you kind of have the three ends or the three different points of the spectrum in terms of projection to kind of match up in content base or context base with Pip being highly projection based. I'm more punt the projections to the moon in spots, and you're kind of more of a mix of in between us. So should have some good insight here for people. Let's go win some money today.
Yeah, Pip, we had to get you back on. I knew this was a good slate for it. Big day of games. How you feeling?
I'm feeling great. Happy to be here. Thanks for having me. Glad to be here in the three-man booth and not be on the hook for team level takes today. So
the week that Gavin couldn't do it, I was like, so Pip, so what do you think about this game? He's like, well, I have got the projections up here, and we're just going to go to those.
Yeah, I got no regression numbers. I got none of that.
Yeah.
I don't have any turtle field goal percentage takes either. We're just going straight off the spreadsheet today.
Yeah, that's kind of how I played the slate last night, with the 8-10 games on sidearm, just kind of jam the projections. But we've got 8 high major games on the slate. No Miami, Ohio, thank God. We got real teams here. And we got a couple really good games. We're going to start with a fascinating one, Clemson at Duke, Gav. Clemson coming off the loss earlier this week to a team that hopefully makes the tourney. 10-point home loss to the Hokies. They're down to 33rd at Ken Pom. Duke is sitting at 3rd. He's got this 73-60, so real low team total. We got the projections up here on the screen for everyone. What do you think overall with Clemson and Duke?
Yeah, I mean, you got the top 2 defenses in the ACC, and you have 2 of the 3 slowest defensive average possession lengths in the conference. So it's definitely going to be a slog of a game. You also have 2 teams who are going to force the ball away from the rim and out to the perimeter. So there's going to be, a fair bit of component of, 3-point kind of shootout. Not in terms of you're just going to see a billion threes, but these teams are going to force one another to shoot threes probably beyond what they're really comfortable doing. And Duke hasn't been that great from the perimeter. Clemson is a little bit better, from 3, but God, playing that rotation is just disgusting. It's not a bad matchup for Duke, but on the other side, Clemson is also a little bit more interior based. They want to try to get some paint touches and driving kicks. So yeah, it's not a pretty DFS game all around, but with one kind of key injury, we're probably going to definitely need to pay attention with one of the, I'd say, easier plays of the slate.
Yeah, I just want to touch on this real quick, Matt. On Saturdays, the show is pretty much the playbook, just because the slate starts so early. So this will be the playbook. We'll have cores up, projections are up already, and just make sure to be in Discord for news and lineups. Pip, Clemson's back on a main Saturday slate. I feel like we've got a bit more clarity on what they want to do. We saw Carter Welling go down with an ankle injury, but came back in that game. I think he's going to be fine. I was conservative on his minutes here, kind of because of that. I was actually glad to see that he was priced up, so we don't really have to consider him for DFS. What do you like in this game here?
I like not playing any of it. It's like when you're looking at it from a macro perspective, I've got Clemson and Duke as the 2 lowest projected on a field goal attempt teams. I mean, we're talking about I've got Clemson at 52 and Duke at 54. I mean, just a brutal game environment. I guess starting on the Duke side, like a lot of these Duke guys, I feel like usually can get there because they're pretty good at turning other teams over. And I just don't think Clemson is a team that you can do that a lot with. I think if there's anything I know on a team level is that Brad Brownell is pretty sharp. And I think that Brad Brownell knows that his way to winning this game is shrinking possession count. Yes. And that bodes very badly in fantasy for Duke guys to get steals. So I think the only Duke guys I would even consider is a Slim Evans and hope that he can put up 25 real, but I'm still not pumped about it versus Clemson. On the Clemson side, it's kind of the same. It's like you're going to shrink possession count. It's a terrible rotation. I mean, I hate to say it, but I do think Dylan Hunter is in play. 4,300 is really cheap.
Yeah.
It is a 59 team total, but it doesn't concern me a lot for Dylan Hunter. Obviously, you'd love for him to be in like a 75 total, but I've got him at 6.6 points and about 18 fantasy points. So he gets rebounds and assists and probably can get you a steal or two. I think a 4,300 can definitely get there, even not worrying about the game environment.
Yeah, had a tough game on Wednesday, Gav. What are your thoughts on Hunter? And is Boozer a priority for you today, or are you going to be looking elsewhere up top?
I mean, it's just that I think there's other guys who have more juice off the bounce in Clemson, like in the form of Ace Buckner.
He was really good on Wednesday.
Yeah,
brother, he has he's 70% true shooting last 5 games. Like, I mean, absolutely just dusting. But yeah, if Dylan Hunter's going to play 30 minutes, I think Pip's right. Like, you don't really need kind of a massive total to get there. But he also just showed that he can go full on Dallin Hall and go nearly 20 minutes without a fantasy point somehow by the grace of God. Godfrey probably has the worst matchup of any forward on the entire slate as a paint-bound, rebounding reliant big against the Duke front line, even with Ngongba out. That just means more Malik Brown minutes if he doesn't foul like a total idiot. So, yeah, I'm probably going right back to Malik Brown. I just think he has way more ceiling than Dylan Hunter in this spot. So I'll probably prefer to go there. You know, Welling at least has kind of the 3-point out and has some stock upside. So he's kind of got more paths, I think, than Davidson or what's his name? Godfrey. But you're paying $6K on the road at Cameron Indoor. For what it's worth, the last 2 times these teams have played at Cameron, Duke won both games by a combined 3 points. So kind of what Pip was saying there.
I did take the plus 12.5.
I haven't taken it yet, but it's because I figured Duke would take money at Cameron. Like, people just want to bet this Duke team any spot they can. Brunell's going to slow this thing down to a crawl and just make this ugly as all hell.
Yeah, I'm with Pip here. I think Clemson wants this game like 60-58, you know, and I think that they're going to try their best to do so. I think
the answer to Boozer is yes. You can always play Cameron Boozer on a slate. Yes.
Oh, I was going to ask you, Gav. We've got Ngongba projected in. He's probable. Would you still play some Brown if we get Ngongba starting?
Oh, is he really? I didn't even see. I just woke up freaking 30 minutes ago, the crack of dawn, so I got to get up on news. But
yeah, he was upgraded to probable overnight. I don't know how much he's going to play. Let's do 2 quick situations. If Ngongba starts, do you want any Brown, even for like the MME guys? And then if Ngongba's active but Malik starts, do you want any Malik? I think
if Malik starts, he's in play for basically everybody. Maine, whatever. If Ngongba starts, I would say Malik is MME only in that case.
So Pip, him starting means he gets the first 4 minutes, which is big for a guy like him, where every minute counts. What do you think if Ngongba's active but Malik starts here at 4,600?
Yeah, I think it'd be like the toughest question to answer. I'm not even these last slates where people have been
4 minutes. A guy like him is huge, you know.
Yeah, like I'm not the most pumped about Malik Brown just in general. Like I think he's probably like a 0.73 somewhere around there, like FPPM guy. I think another thing with these Duke guys and why I'm a little bit shy on Boozer today is that if we're assuming there's really low field goal attempts here, the rebound upside in this game is just brutal. So that's why I'm way more inclined to take a score than I am a guy that's going to have to get there on peripherals, kind of on the Duke side, I'm saying. It's just kind of a tough sell on any of the Duke guys. I think it's just a really, really bad spot. But if he started, I'd have a long look. But there's some mid 4K guys I think you could easily play over him.
Yeah, because if he starts here, Pitt, like there's situations where Ngongba's active but plays 8 or 10 minutes, and then if you're not playing at 26 or 28 minute Malik Brown at 4,600, you could be in trouble. But that's going to be something that we will talk about in the Discord, so make sure to get in there. Let's go to game number 2, stay in the ACC, Georgia Tech at Notre Dame. Georgia Tech 153 at KenPom. Holy shit. Notre Dame 82nd. KenPom's got this 78-69 Notre Dame, Gav. Pretty healthy team total for them. Probably one of the highest we've seen them in ACC play. What do you think about this game here?
Well, the game's terrible. Not from a DFS perspective, but these teams have lost a combined 11 straight games in 4-20 in ACC play. The best thing about it for these teams is that one of these teams has to win. So they'll at least end their losing streaks today, one of them. But yeah, I thought the total kind of felt high for this one. I haven't bet any totals yet today. I need to look more into that, but just kind of felt high initially. Georgia Tech hasn't covered their last 2 games by an average of 13.5 points. So, I mean, it's going downhill to their big schematic matchup here is the Notre Dame no-middle defense against the lowest 3-point rate in the conference. Now, Georgia Tech, for what it's worth, I have no idea how, but they're actually 3rd in the ACC in 3-point percentage. They just never take any. So go
Who's
figure.
hitting those?
Maybe
Washington?
No, Washington hasn't hit a 3 in 3 years. But no, I mean, like it's still a healthy team total. Like you have to look here in spots. But yeah, like you said, Harrelson, I thought he was questionable last night when I saw, but dude, he's averaging 18.5, 4, and 3.5 while being 59% from the field the last 5 games. Like I was basically just a couple games too early on him, it sounds like, when I was trying to play him like kind of more early mid-January. But yeah, this is a really good spot for him as well. And yeah, I mean, Georgia Tech's average on the offensive glass and Tout's big dumbass. Tout is 4th on the slate in fouls per 40 the last 5 games. So that's just what's crushed his price. Dongo doesn't really have a high free throw rate himself. But yeah, he's been fouling. At least he's at home, so it's a pretty good spot for him in that sense.
Yeah, wasn't able to get the ND of Vandy out here, so we got Vandy in here on the screen. But Pip, I think there's some decent plays in this game. Healthy team total for Notre Dame here, and a bit of a condensed rotation without Scylla for Georgia Tech. We've seen Ndongwo play 30-plus minutes a couple times in the last few games. What do we think DFS-wise in this game here?
Yeah, I had the same first read as Gav, and that I opened up the totals, and I saw 80 team total pretty much from Notre Dame, and that just seemed fake to me, and especially Georgia Tech, even 72. Like this kind of, in my head, is like a 75.
Total's going up, yeah.
But you know what? I'm trusting the market. It's
Yeah.
a little bit interesting to me, but it is what it is. I think Georgia Tech side, the guy I'm getting the most of is definitely a Kai Fleming. He's got really good box scores recently. I think 30 plus last 2 games. I think when we're talking about guys that I'm contemplating playing over Malik Brown, he's most definitely one of them. So definitely a name that I would consider in all formats. I think he's especially playable on a main. Then other than that, in terms of what's available on a main, I wouldn't run any other GT guys on main. The only other guys I'd really have in my pool are Ndongo, and then I do really like Koasi Reeves. If you do think that this is like a high-scoring game, we've seen Koasi Reeves like play 40 minutes and just catch absolute fire, and he could legitimately like 40 here at 6,600. Now, I have him around like 25. I'm not too far off of what you guys have here, but like the upside, I think, is in the tank. Notre Dame, I think, is the most interesting team on the entire slate. I think what's also interesting about this game is kind of juxtaposing it to TCU, Oklahoma State, where I think TCU, Oklahoma State will get there is going to be probably pretty owned because there's good prices, good plays, healthy total. And I think that this is a similar total with guys that people don't want to click, especially in GPPs as of like now. I think you can realistically run any of their starting 5 or 4 of Tout, Serta, Shrewsbury, Harrelson. Shrewsbury is probably my favorite. Just because I think he can put up a bunch of threes here in an 80 total and just go insane. Now it is 6.1K, Braden Shrewsbury, which I know isn't the best, but I think he can put up a lot of fantasy points. And then Carson Tout, definitely playable. I don't think any of these guys right now are main viable, in my opinion. I think I wouldn't argue with you on Tout being main viable, but not for me right now. Harrelson news, probably biggest news on the slate. I think Sir Muhammad stone lock if we do get the Harrelson out. So it's kind of my general thoughts.
That's pretty scary.
I think he's just really high FPPM. I think that.
Yeah, can you imagine saying that? I mean, God, Sir Muhammad Stonelock.
But
you're right. You're right. But imagine saying that
at 7:17 a.m. local for Gavin, Sir Muhammad Stonelock.
I think he's reasonably like a 0.85 FPPM, maybe 0.9 in this. He rebounds, assists, can get stocks. Like think he's got a lot going for him. I honestly, and Gavin's going to roll his eyes and say, kick him out of the show right now. I think you can play him in MME right now because if Harrelson fouls or Harrelson is limited and he does get like 24 minutes, he could easily put up 24 DK here in 24 minutes.
You don't have to convince Gavin on a greasy play, you know?
Yeah. No, I like him here. I think he's fun.
Harrelson has foul issues. He could turn the ball over and Schultz could get pissed at him. Like, I mean, that's not fully out of it. So yeah, I get that.
Yeah, I want your thoughts on Ndongo here. It seemed like earlier in the season, what we were waiting for was kind of the minutes floor. I think we have that right now. He's scary because we have seen him take, a dip in the past. But man, if we're getting 30 plus from here, I think he's a decent play. And then your favorite thoughts on, or your favorite plays on the Notre Dame side.
Yeah, I think Ndongo's fine. 7K. The game environment looks good on paper. I still have questions about it, but I think Ndongo is totally fine for Maine. You said on the Notre Dame side?
Yeah. Is it tout? Is it Serta with the minutes floor? No one gives you a warm and fuzzy, but I think they're good plays.
I know. But to Pip's point, right? The totals they're going to be a little bit. You're probably giving up a couple points to the TCU Oklahoma State total, but this game is projected for 68 possessions on KenPom. The first matchup of TCU Oklahoma State was 66 possessions, so keep that in mind. That was going to be one of my other points on that game, but yeah, I think that's really all. I mean, all those guys I say are in play in your pool. I would say that Tout and Harrelson. I'm not the type who's going to play a Cole Serta. I get playing the minute floor. I understand that. I don't really like pure shooters at that price or heavy shooters at that price, but I get it. So you can do worse probably on this slate.
Yeah, I think he would have an MME tag if I was doing the playbook. Let's go to the game that we were just talking about. Good segue. We got TCU and Oklahoma State. TCU 53rd at KenPom, Oklahoma State 64th. Pip, we'll go to you first on this one. We got 78-76. Is it the highest? No, it's not because we got the St. John's game. But one of the higher totals on the slate. We got pretty good pricing across the board. What stands out to you here?
Yeah, no, I think this is a really fun game, obviously. I mean, I'll start with Oklahoma State. I'm probably I don't think any of the Oklahoma State guys are playable on a main. I think if I was playing an Oklahoma State guy in my lineup in small field, I'd probably want him to be around chalk because I don't think these guys will be actually really owned. And because I don't think they're unless it's Vic Miller, I feel like every single slate I never play Vic Miller, and he goes insane.
He always projects well for us.
And I message Steve and I say, "Fucking Vic Miller is 100% on the field in the first 10 minutes of the game." And
it's good, man.
It's brutal. So I'm again predictably 2.5 points lower on Vic Miller than you guys are. But other than that, I'm pretty around you guys generally on these projections. A few lower on Roy, but I mean, Roy is kind of a guy you're going to want to take a shot on in large field stuff just because he's a chucks and he's probably going to put up 10 threes and you're just going to hope that he hits like a good efficiency day. TCU is completely different. I think the hardest question on TCU is, I don't know if you guys saw the Tanner Toolson box score last game. You guys see this?
He had 15 free throws.
He had 15 free throws. So my stuff this morning, before I adjusted, was very skewed towards Tanner Toolson, seeing Tanner Toolson as like an absolute lock. Now, I think that TCU got in the bonus in the second half with 10 minutes to go against Iowa State. So he had like 8 free throws after that. So it's a bit noisy if you're doing like a box score based projection. So I did tank him here a few. I still am around like 18.7 for his projection. So I think Tanner Toolson's actually pretty playable here. Especially in a 77 total. I mean, he did just drop like 35 DK against Iowa State. I'm contemplating him for a main. It doesn't feel good.
If you play Tanner Toolson, do not watch the game. Do not watch the game if you play Tanner Toolson.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like the TCU game and the Notre Dame game are kind of like two of the games where I end up watching those instead of the actual good real life game because I have good like daily fantasy players. And then
I hate watching Tanner Toolson.
Yeah. They'll be like, "Did you watch that game?" And I'm like, "No, I was watching Notre Dame, Georgia Tech."
I was waiting for Tanner Toolson to check in.
Yeah, for his 25 minutes. I guess I'm kind of rambling here, but other than that, I think best play in the game is definitely David Punch. David Punch, 6.9K, legitimately good basketball player, good at the sport. Happy to tee him up at 6.9K here in any format. Edmonds, same exact thing. A bit of foul risk.
Yeah. You were early on him,
Yeah, exactly. And then he got ejected. So dead to me now. And
so
then
price down. If you didn't get
price down, exactly. 7.1K. I have him around like 29. I've got Punch like 0.5 ahead of him. So definitely prefer Punch at the price point. Pierre, great GPP play. Love Jaden Pierre as a GPP play. And same with Micah Robinson. I think great mix-ins. I think Micah Robinson, last man in a main, 100% doable. So yeah, I think you can't really go wrong with anyone here.
Gav, your alma maters in this game, they're fighting for a spot in the tournament. Let's start with overall thoughts. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, we know these are two teams that definitely want to get to the rim, and two teams that don't have the greatest rim protection. TCU's off the huge win, against Iowa State, now going on the road. When Oak State, went to the state of Arizona, got their back absolutely Valentine's Day blown out by Arizona, and then proceeded to lose to lame duck coach Arizona State by nearly double digits. So this is another. There's so many plus spots on the matchup, or on the slate today, betting wise, even outside like DFS and stuff. I mean, this is definitely one of them. I'm tempted to take some Oak State, but yeah, Xavier Edmonds in the last 5 games, he's 6th on the slate in usage, first in offensive rebounds, 3rd in total rebounds, top 20 in steals last 5 games. So yeah, him and Punch have one of the better matchups on the slate for sure. This is a sick Anthony Roy matchup. Jalen Curry and Kanye Clary will be the ones who are getting swallowed up by, TCU icing every ball screen, and Anthony Roy and Vic Miller to boot are going to be kind of the off-ball guys who TCU allows one of the highest, 3-point catch and shoot rates because that defense is always scrambling. So if you can hold on to the ball and move it, you're going to get open looks. So pretty good matchup for both of them as well. I will not be joining you on the Tanner Toolson expedition. That, some of life's most difficult journeys must be traveled alone, Pip, and you will be traveling alone on that one yourself. So
fair enough. I don't blame you.
Other than, but yeah, Micah Robinson has kind of had, his breakout, which is kind of what Xavier Edmonds did, like
for, Robinson.
Yeah. So yeah, if he may go under-owned as people aren't quick enough to kind of catch up, but yeah, he's looked really good. And yeah, like I said, Punch and Edmonds, one of the better spots on the slate as well.
Wanted to ask you, Gav, if you had to choose one between Edmonds and Punch, and can you play them together, do you think?
Oh, can you play them together?
I think the game's good enough where you can play both at these price tags,
Yeah, the prices and the potential game environment. Like I said, this thing was 66 possessions last time. It's projected for 72 here because TCU is elite at not only limiting transition, but then once you get into the half court and they start swarming ball screens and doubling the post every time, bad parts of fall in matchup. It could slow down a little bit. So I don't really want to say no because TCU could score like 85 here, 85, 90. So
guys running,
I would not play them both, but I don't want to say you can't.
Yeah, because the projections are going to spit out both.
Only other thing I'd add, Vic Miller, 5th highest fouls per 40 last 5 games of the slate, which is what's kept his minutes down.
Yeah, let's hope it stays that way.
Tanner Toolson over Vic Miller. Just turn the game on,
Please. But it's similar minutes. That's all I'm going to say. Similar minutes. I also feel like just one more note on that game. I know we have to move, but that game I thought was going to have a lot higher total. And that kind of does somewhat scare me about the game is I think I opened up projections thinking it was going to be like 85 and 85 implied team totals. So I'm a bit scared that it becomes uber chalk and then it's like 72, 73 unexpectedly.
Yeah, I mean, Gavin said 66 possessions last time, so I think it's a great point as a game that could go under the total. Speaking of a game that could go under the total, UCLA at Michigan, Gav. We'll start with you here. UCLA 39 to Ken Pom. Could get Sky Clark back. If you see that news while we're on the show, please pop it in the chat here. At number 1, Michigan 84-68. This is another greasy big dog. I think this is a spot where UCLA is going to do the same thing that Clemson wants to and just slow this game to an absolute halt. What do you think about this game here, Gav? And Yeah. Do you like anyone in DFS?
Yeah, first kind of game wise, I mean, UCLA has played, the Michigan clone out in the country in Arizona, right? You got to slow them down. You have to keep them away from the rim. You have to turn them into half court jump shooting teams. Mick Cronin is all too familiar with that, dating back to the Pac-12 days playing against Tommy Lloyd. So, in that regard, UCLA is in theory equipped to slow down this Michigan offense. That being said, they just allowed 59% inside the arc and 44 points in the paint against Washington. Now, Hannes Steinbach, in his own regard, phenomenal player, but Michigan is a whole different beast on the front line in that regard. It's the best two-way rim unit in the country. And yeah, I mean, it's not as much that they even played with their food against Northwestern as much as kind of Northwestern was just hot in the first half and even kind of the start of the second half. Until, teams just wear down playing Michigan. Mick has been dog shit outside of the West Coast. I mean, basically crossing 2 time zones. He's been terrible in these Big Ten games. So yeah, we'll see. I get UCLA. I thought money would come in on Michigan, so I haven't bet it yet. But UCLA is one of the worst P5 defense rebounding teams in the country. When you look at rebounds per 40 among everyone on the slate, Merez is 3rd, Yaxel 7th, Mara's 10th. So there you go. They're all poised for a good spot here.
We got Davis here, the birthday boy in the background.
What's going on?
Merez Johnson Pip had an awesome
happy 60th, Dave.
After he struggled a bit in the first, the price tag didn't move. I know that you didn't like Merez last slate. Have you come around a bit? I know both Gavin and I played him on this slate. I think he's a good play again here. But besides him, I don't really have a ton of interest. I will say, seeing Michigan get pushed by Northwestern, we saw Yaxel play 37. We saw Merez play 32. Like, those are the games where the Michigan guys are going to absolutely crush. I think UCLA can keep this close. And that would be your reason for playing, the Michigan guys. If they blow them out, then, we're going to see more of McKinney and Will Shetter and, guys like that.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I mean, UCLA side, I think you just take the projections, you go on SaberSim, and you just X them all out and move on. I think if there was anyone I would play, okay, Clark's still questionable. Yeah. On the Clark note, I think great play right now is Trent Perry under 12.5 points. Love that prop. I've got him at 10. I do think Clark goes just based on the coach speak, but I've been wrong before. 12.5 is just a lot against Michigan. I'm not too excited about that. Dent, if you do think it's close, I guess Don Dent probably goes over 5.5 assists as well pretty easily. But again, UCLA guys just way priced up and not a good spot. I was pumped when Steve invited me on this show because I knew Merez Johnson was going to be a decision point, and I could come in here and complain and get my words off on Merez Johnson playing 19 second half minutes when he played like 19 minutes the game before.
Best player on the court in that game in the second half.
It was the under 16 timeout. I'm like, it's got to be subbing him out now. Under 12, got to be subbing him out now. Here we are, 1 minute left. He sat 1 minute in the whole half and has 4 stocks in the half. So, yes, I'm interested in Merez Johnson. If you're telling me that his role is 35 minutes, yeah, you're locking him in. Am I playing him? Most definitely not playing Merez Johnson today. I still think he's a 28-minute guy. I think Dusty May did not want to lose that game at any cost. It was the right decision, as much as I hate to admit. It was the right decision to play him the whole game because he was just destroying those kids on Northwestern.
Yeah.
But I think here I'm betting on a reversion back to minutes. And I think the same goes for Cadeau, which I think makes Cadeau somewhat of an interesting play of that. Didn't Cadeau play like 5 second half minutes? I want to say that he started the half.
Kenny and Kason and
yeah. So I think if you've got a read on that, feel free to tee up Elliot Cadeau here if you think we're going back to normal minutes. I think it's an interesting Merez Johnson kind of pivot play of thinking that minutes go back to normal. So also a Daimara revenge game if you're into that kind of thing. He is uber priced up, but he is against Xavier Booker and Steven Jamerson. So that does kind of give me the warm and fuzzies. So yeah, no one really on Michigan for me. I mean, people are going to play Merez. That's fine by me. Not my kind of projection play personally, but especially because I think UCLA can rebound a bit here.
Yeah, I think Merez is a great play if you're playing multiple lineups in this spot, Gav. Thoughts on that? And then that's exactly what I was going to ask you. Cadeau's minutes have kind of gotten away from us here, but I don't see any reason why they wouldn't bump back up to the 30ish range. I just wanted to be conservative with the projections.
I mean, LJ Kaysen decided that he wanted to turn into Trey Burke for a couple games. So
yeah,
I don't know how sustainable that is. And if Dusty really wants to be playing LJ Kaysen, because, dude, I mean, the next game he could literally take 2 3-pointers, not hit the rim on either one, and be just glued to the bench. Like that's the LJ Kaysen experience. Yeah, Merez is totally fine here. It's a not a good matchup for tempo. It's a decent matchup for kind of scheme. That being said, they just face kind of a really similar, defensive scheme in Northwestern to UCLA. These teams with no rim protection who are all out rim denial, plug gaps, double the post, keep the ball away from the rim at all costs because you can't defend it. So I guess in that regard, Michigan steamed them the last 10 minutes, but I doubt they run like Northwestern allowed them to towards the end of the game. But yeah, all those guys are pretty fine. I mean, yeah, if you think this game stays close, I mean, Yaxel's just going to be unowned and, could easily 40 here, 40 plus. Yeah, I don't have a problem with really any of the big men, to be honest. They just all have kind of their own time and place, I think.
Yeah, it's a good team to play if you're playing a bunch of lineups. I would be mixing in those Michigan bigs. All right, let's go to a super important game on the slate. A&M and Vandy. A&M, absolute bitches on Wednesday. Just meltdown, couldn't cover. Hate that. They're 36 to Ken Pom. Vandy, 13th. This is 87-78 on Ken Pom, Gav. Thoughts on the game, and then we'll get into the plays afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, God, we haven't heard much from Vip lately, have we?
Nope. Team, his team starts playing the good teams in the conference, and Bama, Florida, they lose at home to Mizzou. That is the first and last time I'm betting on this team this season, Gav, by the way.
They had the easiest strength of schedule in the SEC before that Bama game. Have now proceeded to lose 3 straight, and I highlighted, tweeted out about how they're just not generating turnovers on the defensive end. Did you see the stat I posted?
No.
They are, I want to say they're like 8% forcing turnovers rate less in conference play than they were in non-con, which means that they're 320th nationally forcing turnovers during conference play, which means they rank 3rd among teams with Texas A&M in their school in their school name in forcing turnovers, because you have East Texas A&M and Corpus Christi. It's just been bad, and Vandy is elite. Like, that's their calling card, is 2-way turnover percentage. Even I don't know what the Duke Miles status is. It sounds like those guys are getting close. I don't think they're playing, but Vandy's still elite at holding on to the ball, and Texas A&M still isn't generating turnovers. So when you're not, kicking the ball away, that Vandy's going to have a lot of opportunities, a lot of shots to get up in this spot. So yeah, I mean, this is pretty much the lotion spot of the slate. Texas A&M, they pace you up offensively, but that press and kind of falling back into the zone stuff that they do, slows games down somewhat. But yeah, still should get good overall pace. A lot of good plays here, I think, in this spot.
Yeah, Pip, this is the one spot where I kind of wanted to lay it with the big favorite. I think Vandy could really put it on A&M in this game. But the floor is yours for the Tyler Tanner show.
Finally. Yeah, I've been wrong about Tyler Tanner so much this year, so glad to be on the train. I'll start with, first off, prop I like in this game. Marcus Hill under 11.5 points. I've got him at 8.8, so do like that one quite a bit. There's nothing on the Vandy side available, but as I told these guys pre-show, I've got Tyler Tanner at 25. So for Tyler Tanner, I feel like it's probably going to open at like 20.5 or 21.5. I'm clicking away because he's probably going to put up 20 shots here. And I'm pretty confident Tyler Tanner can put up 22 real on 20 field goal attempts. Texas A&M guys, obviously none of these guys really main viable. The ones that are like interesting to me, first one being Pop Isaacs. I played Pop Isaacs on the night slate. The other one when that godforsaken Grand Canyon game was on it at like 5,300. And if you look at his like game logs, I'm sure Steve can probably speak on this more, but he's really hard minutes to nail down. Of like, he played 4 straight games of like 23 to 25, and then he gets random down to 15. So I think Steve did the right move here, putting him at 20, because if you put him at 25, I'm a little bit more bullish on his FPPM here. I think RPS has him at 0.75. I'm probably more on like 0.82. And I think if you moved him up at 4.8K to 0.82 FPPM, which is somewhat reasonable in this game environment, I think you'd be locking and loading Pop Isaac. So again, if you have a good read on it and you want to get guys in this game, I think Pop Isaac is a great call. I think same thing with Ruben Dominguez. All of a sudden started hitting shots. I mean, he used to be low sixes. We know he could just, I mean, he could start this game and have 7 fantasy points in a minute and a half to start the game. Like, that's just who he is. So I think you can tee him up. Other than that, not too psyched about any of the other plays on the A&M side. Vandy side is definitely where we get into it. I will be showing up with Tyler Tanner today. I think Tyler Tanner, I'm not going to say stone lock, but probably my top exposure if I was playing a ton of lineups. I will be showing up with Tyler Tanner today. Outside of him, I think Jalen Washington, viable everywhere, viable on main, one of the top 10 plays on the slate. If he fouls, don't at me in the chat and say you said to play him, because he will foul. That is just what he does, but he is a monster. And then I think Devin McLaughlin, truly one of the best GPP plays on the slate. Love Devin McLaughlin. We've seen the upside to get to 33 minutes in games, and I think that there is still upside to get there. Again, if he doesn't foul and he starts feasting out of the gate. So I think you can play 2-3 Vandy here. I think AK Okereke you can play. So really line them all up. Line them all up to me.
Gav, can we claim the Jalen Washington breakout if we were a year early and on the wrong team?
Never wrong, just early.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on him? And I think the McLaughlin call is a good one. I think Nickel is a really good tournament play here too.
Yeah, Jalen Washington, I mean, back-to-back 28-minute games. He's at home. He's in good pace. Texas A&M is 15th in defensive rebounding and SEC play. He also has the second highest fouls per 40 on the slate over the last 5 games. By the way, you know who's first? That would be one Mike James at 9.6 fouls per 40 the last 5 games for anybody who was thinking about doing some unforsaken shit and playing him today. You know, don't do that. But speaking of the other bigs, McLaughlin, 8th highest foul per 40 last 5, Okereke 10th. You know, Vandy is a handsy defense, and they will put you on the line. And, you know, thank God Byington is a smart coach and is willing to play guys through 2 fouls, especially like a Tanner. So we don't have to worry about as much like when we'll talk about the next game. But, yeah, I mean, this is Vandy bigs are, you know, belt-to-ass level matchup here. One of the better ones on the slate with pace against a bad front line. Wow, that's fuck me. Here we go, Sir Muhammad season. Oh God, I suddenly feel physically ill. But yeah, Tyler Nickel, I think, is a really interesting spot. You know, he's had 2 poor shooting games in a row where, you know, he's gotten good looks, he just hasn't converted. And yeah, he probably wasn't going to shoot like 49% from 3 like he was for the most of the season. But yeah, Texas A&M is going to surrender a high 3-point rate again, pace at home. So yeah, I think it's harder to say that I don't want to play any of these Vandy guys rather than say, yeah, you need to play. I mean, they're all really good plays, except for Mike James.
Yeah, if I'm playing a bunch of lineups here, Pip, I would rather be over on the Vandy guys than coming under kind of overall. Any last thoughts here?
No, that's pretty much it for me. I think that kind of the more I look through these games and we get to the games coming up, I think there are very like few playable games. In terms of guys you're playing like core plays. And I think that I'd probably want to show up with at least one Vandy today. I would not show up without a Vandy player today. Yeah, pick whoever you want it to be, but I'd probably be putting like min 1 Vandy. I just don't see how they don't put up 1 billion points here.
Yeah, so another big team total. We'll start with you here, Pip. St. John's and Providence. St. John's 89 team total, 89.83 is what he's got it. St. John's 22nd at Ken Palm, Providence 63rd. We've got Jameer Jones in here. I haven't seen anything this morning. If you have something in the chat, let us know because he missed during the week. We've got him in here. Pip, we love when St. John's gets pushed because he's just going to jam Zuby. He's going to jam Dylan Mitchell. He's going to jam Bryce Hopkins. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah. Before I say something on this game, just want to say without Jalen Harrelson on the court, 28% usage for Sir Muhammad and 90% of the minutes.
We're going to get to that. We're going to get to that.
Oh. Yeah. Just we'll get there. On this game, I mean, Dylan Darling, right? That's the question of the day. Is it? I think starters are going to be huge here, which makes it suck that it's a noon game because if Dylan Darling starts, I'm pretty confident in playing Dylan Darling in this spot. Interesting buy low on Ian Jackson if Ian Jackson does start. That's more of an MME play. I'm a bit lower on the St. John's guys than the field probably is. I think like Hopkins is playable. I'd way rather play Dylan Mitchell on a main. I'm probably not playing Zuby on a main. Yeah, I think the only guys that are like mainline viable to me here are like Mitchell, Sellers, and Darling. Probably most interested in Darling though. I feel, yeah. Well, I don't know if you guys have seen the Bryce Hopkins, Jameer Jones narrative of Jameer Jones saying that he would start over Bryce Hopkins if he was there, which is why I think Jameer Jones plays. And that's also a reason if you want to, boost him up, Bryce Hopkins up a few points in your runs, thinking he gets more usage. I guess that's fair enough. So yeah, I would rank the plays Darling, Mitchell, Sellers. Well, probably Mitchell, Darling, Sellers, just because we got a C on Darling. Providence side, no fantasy interest. I mean, we're seeing just a disgusting rotation here. It is a nice total for him, though. I was a bit surprised it was a 6-point spread. Excuse me, I thought it was going to be about 10. I do like the Jason Edwards under 15.5 points if we do believe in the 23 minutes. And I also do like the under 7.5 points for Oswin, as these are just grown at every St. John's game I watch. I'm like, these are just grown ass men. And Oswin is just, I mean, if he lasts 8 minutes without 2 fouls, I'd be shocked. And then we're going to get Cole Hargrove, and then Zuby's going to 60 here.
Gav, do you have a reading, or do you have a read on the Jackson Darling stuff? And then, man, so everyone's going to show up with Mitchell. I think Bryce Hopkins, one of the best tournament plays on the slate here.
I think Bryce Hopkins goes one of two ways. One, he just is fully motivated. He completely sends it, into the paint. He's getting to the free throw line. He's just all over the place in the revenge game. The other one is he, flies off the handle and it goes completely wrong. 2 of 13 because he's taking poor shots and forcing stuff. But yes, you're right. It's in a really good spot. Like, this was St. John's one, blemish in conference play. I mean, they'd be undefeated in Big East play if not for this. They shot 17% from 3 and 22% from the field in the second half of this game. One thing I'll mention, they're in Providence. Rick Pitino, excuse me, he is 358th in 2 foul participation, which is a terrifying thought on the road. Sellers is 3rd in the Big East in free throw rate, 5th in fouls drawn. Providence is 3rd in the Big East in free throw rate. Sellers is 5th in fouls drawn for 40 in the conference. Jones is 9th. Vox is 20th. So there's definitely foul potential. If they foul, you will not be seeing them the rest of the first half. Keep that in mind. That's just one thing I would add for sure.
Yeah, Pip, this game's at 8.5 now, so it's gone towards the Johnnies. This morning you said 6.5, and I just bolted to the Hard Rock app, because if this was 6.5, I would definitely take that. Any last words here? I really like Mitchell. I really like Hopkins. The way that I'm gonna play, I haven't built yet. I don't mind, having Sellers as that last spot, and then if Darling starts, you just do the pivot. I think that's interesting. I'm okay leaving 400. Any last thoughts here?
Yeah, I think the only thing, and I know we're going to get to it, so I don't want to delve into it too much, but like now with the Notre Dame news, the slate's changed a lot. And I think that players like Zuby and Boozer are definitely more in play than they were when we started the show, just because there's going to be way more viable salary relief. So I think kind of just updating my Zuby take. I think I'm happy to play Zuby here with the upside, especially now there's going to be a lot. I think coming into the day, I saw it more as like Tanner and kind of mid-range. And now I think you can pretty easily stars and scrubs it if you really have a read on Zuby.
Stars and scrubs, here we come. Let's go.
Get excited for low times, everybody.
Zuby only managed 64 points last time Providence played. But on the other end, Jameer Jones had a mega double-double in 25 minutes.
Yep.
Oswin himself damn near had a double-double. There were some nuclear scores in that first game, and the Johnnies didn't even shoot it for shit. It's definitely viable for Zuby.
All right, let's go to a game that I'm kind of uncomfortable with the projections on. Gav, we'll start with you. Northwestern at Nebraska here. Northwestern 66 at Ken Palm, Nebraska 14th, 79-65. Low total here for Northwestern, but the prices are down. The minutes are good. These are the projections that don't give me a warm and fuzzy. What do you think here?
I mean, it's a rematch, of God. I think Nebraska ran them out in Evanston in the first one. And now they're coming back home. two similar looking defenses. In a rematch, that leads me to believe typically like more of an under potential spot. So yeah, from that sense, I guess I get why some of the projections may feel a little squishy, but like there's going to be a ton of 3-pointers in this one. It's going to be a heavy 3-point contest, as many Nebraska games are. I didn't think there's like sneaky blowout potential. Rink Mass has come alive, but Nebraska has played 3 top 10 teams in their last 4 games, which is kind of why he's, played full minutes when he hasn't fouled. Do they really need to push them against Northwestern in a game that they could very easily be up by, 15 at half if they're hitting threes? Especially think about like Northwestern, you have Michigan on the ropes for 30 minutes at home. You have to box out those big sons of bitches on Michigan every possession. You have to run back on defense every possession. And you just get worn down, and then you just have like oh my God, oh yeah, we lost by whatever 12 or 14 or whatever it was after we had it. It's just like now you go on the road. I don't like the spot for Northwestern at all. I could even get down on like some corn, but I thought they might have been in a bad sandwich spot potentially. But yeah, nothing. Now they have Iowa, so they're good. But yeah, Northwestern really bad spot. You can at least pick your spots on the Nebraska side.
Yeah, I bet I bet Northwestern last night and felt worse about it this morning just because, I thought more about it. Pip coming off that game, like the full effort game where they still come up short. I'm not super comfortable with the plays in this game. They do project well. Really want to know your thoughts on like Mast. Jaden Reed's been playing full minutes. This is an interesting one here. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. I guess starting at the top on the Northwestern side, Martinelli. I am at 31.2 for Martinelli. So yeah. I'm quite a bit lower. And I thought, Steve, you were definitely going to say this, or one of you would, but post double team, as they like to say. So I'm also just kind of bearish on Nick Martinelli in terms of like the main drive. He's not a big stocks guy. Like you're going to need 25 real for him to get there. And I just don't feel good about 25 real here against a team that is sharp, that knows how to defend, and that is probably just going to keep doubling him and make Jake West hit threes, which very viable strategy on Nebraska's part. Other than that, like the best DFS play on Northwestern is probably the most volatile one, which is Arrington Page, who, according to the Michigan broadcast, is a first-round pick. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on that, but ridiculous box score. Steve, I'm sure if you have any notes on this when we're closing up, like the minutes are really hard to project here.
So
like
tough.
23 is not wrong. I would say if I had a lean on 23, I'd say it's a bit high because like we're either seeing probably 27 to 30 here or like 10.
So
and that's scary.
I went with 23 because I want our guys to get them, playing him.
And again, I think I would be really conscious of builds that I'm putting him in. I think that he is like not like if you're getting him in a bunch of optimals, just know he is not like a core play, really safe. I've got him about like 20% of top optimals. I guess to answer your questions, like Reed and Singleton, I'm a point lower than you guys on. Page, I'm like 0.5 lower on. So like I'm getting him. And again, like I think I was getting a lot more Page before I started updating for Notre Dame stuff. So I'm feeling a bit better of getting off him. But you can run him in GPPs. Like watching the Michigan game, he is a good real life player.
Yeah.
So I don't think 1 FPPM is off the table here. It's just you're going to have to get a lot to break right for you. And on top of that, I do kind of buy into they're kind of gassed. Nebraska side, love Rink Mast, and I do rarely love Rink Mast, just putting up a billion shots. I'd like his over 14.5 points here. I'm at 16.5 or 16.4. So do like that one. I guess I do understand where Gav's coming from with like the minutes concern on full bore. I think the only thing I'd say against that is they already don't have that many players. So it's not like they have like 12 players to fill his minutes with. And yeah, I don't really like anyone else on Nebraska. I mean, 7.2K Hoiberg actually does project decently well for me.
No, we're not doing that.
How about a lineup with 4.6K Tanner Toolson and 7.2K Sam Hoiberg in a queue? Gav, any thoughts there?
Yeah, if I show up with that lineup, call the FBI because I'm being held against my will and trying to tell people that I'm kidnapped.
Last thoughts here. I wanted to get your
Rink Mast 3-point prop 1.5.
All right, that one's going in.
Click.
Wow, that's not even juiced either. That's a beauty. Okay.
Before we move on,
thoughts?
I just want your thoughts on the Martinelli matchup. Sorry.
On the what matchup?
Martinelli, because he projects well, but
it's not a great Martinelli matchup. Both these teams are going to slog it out in the half court. Is Arrington Page going to be owned on the slate? Do you think?
No, I'm higher just because I wanted our MME guys to get some.
That made the cheeks clench a little bit. That's pretty nerve wracking. Jaden Reed, third on the slate in assist rate in the last 5 games. I love him. Jake West is 8th in the same category. So, that's how West is going to get there. And the way the Nebraska guards ball screens and doubles the post, like there's going to be guys on Northwestern who inevitably get assists just from, they are the one thing that they can do is hold on to the ball. And if they hold on to the ball against Nebraska's pressure, they're going to rotate to open threes. So some guys are going to get assists. But any interest in like an MME Braden Frager at home?
It's not my kind of play. I know it's not Pip's kind of play. But, man, he's been better than I thought he was going to be. I mean, every time he
is
he's
awesome.
Like the best player on the court.
Yeah, if he's hitting his shots, I mean, he's going to stay on the court like he did, for 31 minutes against Illinois. He played 28 in regulation against Purdue and didn't even shoot it all that well. Now back at home in a pretty cakey matchup, at least, scheme-wise, not as much tempo, but it's not out of the question he gets there.
Yeah, I'm at 20 on him for what it's worth. I'm a bit lower on him, but he is a GPP play in terms of like the way he gets there is just catching fire, which is possible because Northwestern sucks.
The guy that when I was watching the game, it was either Tuesday or Wednesday when Northwestern was on the slate that I felt bad that I didn't have immediately was Jaden Reed. I feel a bit better not having him at 5'6", but I just think he's good at the game. I think he's my favorite play on the Northwestern side. I'm not as high on Mast as you are. I think he's a solid play. I'm with Gav. I think they want to rest him if this game blows out. I could see like 28 from here, Gav, from Mast. So that kind of concerns me, but we have to move on. Let's go to the last game on the slate, an absolute banger. Gav, early yesterday, gave out a really good number on this one. Kansas at Iowa State. Kansas 11th at KenPom, Iowa State 7th. Iowa State 74-68. Better real-life game than DFS game here, Gav. 2 really good defenses. What do you got for us here?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to pretend like it was some phenomenal bet. I mean, this is probably the most public spot, on the entire slate today. With Kansas off just the huge Peterson list win against undefeated Arizona and ISU, falling to TCU.
Yep.
This is going to be the biggest game we see at Hilton. Probably probably even bigger than the Iowa game, to be honest. That Iowa game was like 2 months ago. These fans have just been. Can you imagine being in Ames, Iowa, with no good college basketball games? Like, really, I mean, they've been playing just the bottom of the Big 12. Terrence Oglesby said that Hilton is a small sliver of the gates of heaven, surrounded by the gates of hell. So, this is going to be probably the most electric atmosphere on the slate. This is all Iowa State. It's they were 5.5 when we bet it. I don't know if I thought there was some buyback on Kansas to 7, but Peterson sounds like he's going to play. I actually kind of think that Peterson playing in this matchup might even be worse for Kansas in some respects because the way the ball sticks with him.
Yeah.
The way the ball sticks with him and the way that Iowa State, brings 2 to the ball at the most aggressive level of any non-Houston team in the country, means it's kind of not really ideal. I'd almost rather have the ball moving around a little more, even if it is at the expense of Melvin Council barreling into the paint, going 6 of 48 from the field or whatever he was.
Pip, I'm kind of interested in Josh Jefferson here, but overall, I think better real life game than DFS game.
Yeah, I mean, this is the game I was talking about earlier where my friends will be like, well, did you see Kansas, Iowa State? And I was like, well, no, I was knee deep in Georgia Tech, Notre Dame.
For 10 or 2 seconds of the game.
No, I mean, I'll keep it short just because I don't run it up on time. Corey Floyd out, by the way. So someone posted in the Discord. That's pretty big news. I'm not really interested in anyone. I guess the only guy I'd be slightly interested in is Milan. I was literally just about to say DP under 20.5. I have him at 18.9, and I usually go off projections for this kind of stuff, but I think totally agree
scary,
with you. I think
it feels scary, but dude, he could play 22 minutes. Like
the unders play there.
Yeah, and like if you think he goes over 20.5, you better be locking him in DFS because then he's probably going for 30 and playing 35 minutes and decimating the slate. Now, I just don't think that's at off Iowa State, but he is also probably the best player in the country. So if anyone could do it, he could. But yeah, short and sweet. I think Jefferson, not pumped about, would rather play Zuby and Boozer and Tanner. Rest of the guys, I mean, yeah, DP in a large field, if you really are a believer in the skill set, go ahead. And then Milan and Bryson Tiller. I mean, Bryson Tiller looks good.
He was awesome in that game.
Amazing, but this is also just like kind of a foul spot. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't really feel good about anything here. Nothing mainline viable for me.
Yeah. Any last thoughts here, Gav? I have some interest in Jefferson, but I think Pip's right. I think I'd rather play the other guys up top.
Do I even need to ask if we're low on Jamari McDowell's minutes? He had some good success against Iowa State last time. It's at Hilton. Yeah, certainly not ideal. And probably now with the news,
Muhammad instead.
And now probably with the news, we don't need to play him. Thank God.
Logan Imes, tee him up.
Logan Imes.
Yeah, I don't know if I got a ton more to add here. I mean, the one thing is Iowa State in their 3 top 25 games have allowed a 40% defensive rebounding rate. So, that is a path for Tiller and Flory if they can get on the glass. We'll see if Flory just manhandled the 3-headed monster of Arizona and looked like a fucking pro doing it. So, yes, he can absolutely do that against, an overloaded Iowa State defense.
Let's go to overall thoughts on the slate. Pip, I want you to touch real quick on Notre Dame and Providence before we go out, and then just overarching slate thoughts.
Yeah, Notre Dame start off with, I said at the start of the show, I'm not going to back off now, Sir Mohammed Stone Lock. I mean, the Hoop Explorer queries can be a little bit noisy in terms of possession rates, so I don't think he plays 35 minutes here. Obviously be in the Discord because, Steve or I, or we'll all try to figure it out. I'd guess somewhere around like 28 minutes, but I think his FPPM is actually really good. So I'm playing him probably everywhere today. Carson Tout sees like a 9% usage increase. Like that. I like him a lot more now. Imes has played 81% of the possessions without Shrewsbury, with a huge increase in assist rate. Without Burton and Harrelson. So I think we see a lot of Shrewsbury and Imes on the ball here. And I saw Cole Serta's points props up to 17.5. So I think he is most definitely in play. Gav is rolling his eyes and saying we're betting that under.
17.5.
What did you just say? 17.
What did you just
He's in Darren Peterson territory almost. So everybody get excited for that.
Cole Serta 1-3 away from DP.
So yeah, I'd say we'll stay in the Discord for it. I think I got a lot to figure out still on the Notre Dame side, just because
Cole Serta also questionable here, Pip.
Oh, well, I mean, Logan Imes and Sir Mohammed Lock slate. I mean, this is what we wake up on Saturday mornings for. Providence side, 24 minutes to give up for Corey Floyd. Probably putting Mila's just not really the guy now. I think the Providence guys will be a lot more in play if Edwards is out. If Edwards is out, things are going to get interesting because like Vox, even
Why
Sellers.
would Edwards come back for one game? I actually thought that he was just going to call it quits, Gav, and just transfer again.
Yeah, Bryce Hopkins out.
Yeah, I thought that's where some of the rumors were.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you guys have thoughts on this, though? I'm curious, especially the Providence side. I think Notre Dame is going to be a lot easier to figure out.
I think Providence is priced up enough where I don't really want it.
Okay.
Regardless.
What if Jason Edwards starts without Floyd?
Man.
6-6 at home against that backcourt.
I think I'm teeing him up.
High likelihood he's in my lineup if he's in the starting lineup.
I'm less bullish just because it feels tentative with him. Like it feels shit showy. Vox has been good. Sellers is still there. Like I don't think Corey Floyd missing impacts it enough for me to go out of my way to jam a guy that doesn't want to play there. If that makes sense.
if it gets him over 30 minutes, it gets him in the starting lineup, then I think it could be worth it on this slate for sure.
I think he's definitely in play. I'm not going to argue against that. I don't feel great about it.
It's not like it's just unlimited usage. I mean, there's still Vox, there's still Sellers. Those guys are high on the slate in usage. But yeah, I mean, it's still it's more of a bet on the player.
Yeah.
And I think just kind of closing the loop on that. I know we got to close here, but I think the thing about the Providence guys now looking at it too is like none of them are high enough FPPM guys that like even reallocating minutes changes things.
Has to be right on the minutes if you play these guys.
Yeah, like unless you think Sellers and Vox would play 40 minutes without Edwards and Floyd, like it's a tough path. And I think also to your point, Steve, I don't think that Edwards, I think it would be like if Edwards starts, I mean, what are we projecting at? Like 28? It feels harder to get above 28 or 30.
There's just a lot of cooks in the kitchen there now.
Yeah.
With Fox playing well,
Yeah. I'm not too pumped about it. I think I'm kind of going towards your take here, Steve.
Gav, overall, overarching thoughts on the slate and any bets that you want to give out for just the entire day, because I need to put those in too.
I hate when you do this. I don't know. I don't know if I have any, groundbreaking overarching slate thoughts. Yeah, I don't know if I really have a ton to add. I mean, we just talked for a fucking hour about it all.
That's fine.
I'm trying to think other stuff that you don't have that I bet. I don't know if you want.
Just be in the Discord.
Yeah, just be in the Discord. I gotta pull these from different books and shit.
I think just my
NC State -5.5.
Yep, love that. I think my main take is it's more stars and scrubs than it was when we signed on the show here. I really like the plays up top, and we're gonna have better cheap plays than I thought we were gonna have. I'm lower on the Nebraska game than the projections are. Really like the TCU game, but yeah, we've got good slates all day. Join us over at Run Through Sports if you're not already. Use code Steve15. Get in there. Definitely get in the Discord. Days like today, you just have to be in the Discord, Pip, for all the lineups and news and reactions and live bets and hopefully not tilting. But it is a Clemson slate, so we could have that. But yeah, thanks for joining me, guys. We'll be in the Discord all day. We got just banger games all day. We got nothing to compete with the NBA on break. There's no UFC, I'm pretty sure, so it's us all day. It should be good games. This should be a fun slate. We got 2 Qs. But yeah, we'll be back next Saturday. I'll be with Gav. Pip, thanks for joining us again. Should be a fun slate. We'll see you in Discord.